Okay, Monday. I did make an announcement on Facebook early this morning. We will be working from Gary Chafee's time functions, the syncopation book, and the stick control book. We're going to explore the eighth note triplet against the jazz time. Hey Randy, how you doing? Hey, thank you so very, very much. I was considering giving you a refund on that because, you know, you're the only one that's really contributing. The others, I don't know, man. Like, you know, they want everything for free. I send them PDFs, and I don't even get a thank you. So thank you very, very, very much, Randy. You're one of the soldiers of respect. Okay, so enough of the nonsense of me talking and whatever. I did make the announcement. We're going to work at Gary Chafee's time functions. We're going to work with the jazz pattern today and the eighth note triplet. We're going to work with the syncopation book, and we're going to work with the stick control book. Now, there's a lot of different books. Ricardo, good night, sir. You just got here. Zanoni, good day, good evening. Okay. We're going to be working with the jazz pattern, and like I said, there's a lot of different instruction manuals out there for the jazz pattern. And I really think that Gary Chafee has done a magnificent job presenting the jazz pattern. You know, there's the straight ahead, and then there's the open. So let's talk about those two. What is straight ahead? We're in 4/4. We're counting eighth note triplets. Again, when I count the triplet, in this particular case, it's not going to be one triplet, two triplet. It's going to be one and two and three and four and. Now you have to remember, no matter what you play, you know, there's a lot of controversy. A lot of people call it different things and whatever. The level system will follow you around the laws of physics whenever you play. You let it flow, the sound, you're going to flow, you're going to be relaxed, and the sound's going to project correctly. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate again, or maybe with some questions, the level system. And the level system, I'm going to go to the ride cymbal. Now, when I'm playing 4/4, a jazz pen, I want to start with a quarter note. And I want to make that quarter note sound the same, sound constant. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But notice my stick. It's coming down and coming back to the same position constantly. So I theoretically, scientifically, in the laws of physics, I should obtain a constant musical sound. Not well sound, but I make it musical. Okay, so now I have the quarter note. I'm sorry. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's just like sort of a free stroke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's my right hand, absent the does. Now what I'm going to play with the right foot is my bass drum's going to be feathered in. I'm not playing a rock monster kind of funk or whatever. I'm just blending the bass drum in. You could just about hear it. So I make these two notes. 1, 2, these two sounds, one sound. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now my left foot, I leave the right foot out, is going to be heel, toe, heel, toe. The heel's on 1, the toe's on 2, heel's on 3, toes on 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Now bass drum with that. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. Okay, now we have that. A straight ahead 4 quarter notes on the ride cymbal. Now we're going to implement the jazz pattern. That's going to be 1 and the. 2 is going to be down and the. Come back up. 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. Got it, gentlemen? Any questions on that? I got to give some sort of different camera angle. So I'm playing the straight ahead, bass drum 1, 2, 3, 4, left foot, heel and toe, and the ride cymbal pattern. Nice and slow. That's a straight ahead time. 1 and the 2 and the 3. Nice and easy. It sounds very stiff, but I'm demonstrating. 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. That's a straight ahead time. And it's basically, I'm not playing to any melody. I'm not playing to any structure of a tune. I'm just demonstrating the jazz time with my right hand, the position of my right foot and my left foot. Now, what do we do with the left hand? Okay, let's go to the Chaffee book. You should have time functions, the pattern series. Now, if you go, that's unison. Let's go to page. Do we all have this book? We're going to go to page 26. Now, it's really important that you understand this. He breaks up the 8th note triplet really, really nice. We're on page 26, Gary Chaffee's patterns, time functions. Do we all have that, gentlemen? If you don't, if you're going to frequent this stream, what you want to do is purchase the book, because we're going to do a tremendous amount of work out of this book. This book, the syncopation book, the stick control book, and Joe Morello's master studies. So now, let's go back to where we were, and we're going to be on the first guy here, number 1. All right, and he says snare drum only. So let's just play the snare drum. He's breaking up the triplet. Now, the laws of probability, if you have math in college or whatever, you would understand what's the probability of all the different variations of the triplet or whatever. This particular pattern, he's taking 1 and the. He's going to do the first note of the triplet, and that's the snare drum. So we're going to play the left hand. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. That's pretty simple. So we're actually playing quarter notes with the left hand on the snare. We're not pounding it. We're playing it really nice and easy, nice and soft. And now we're going to play it against the jazz time. The straight ahead, 3, 4. Now, I'm not going to use no bass drum. I'm using the left foot. 1 and the 2 and the 3. Now I'm going to play the left hand. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang. Okay, do we all understand that, gentlemen? Want me to slow it down or go on to the next triplet, the next variation? Because now he permutates. Permutate means to move over 1. He permutates the 8th note triplet. Instead of playing the first note of the triplet, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the, we're now going to play the and of the triplet. So we're going to have 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the, against the jazz pattern. 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, we'll do line 1, number 1 and number 2. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1 and 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the back. 2, 3. Second one. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and bang. So now we took the first two elements of the triplet. The first note of the triplet, 1 and the. And we did the second element of the triplet, the second note, 1 and the. Now we're going to go to the da of the triplet. So we have now 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4, the 1 and the 2 and 3 and the 4 and the against the jazz time. 1 and straight ahead, 2, no bass drum yet. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. Nice and easy. I mean, we could play them up. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's not doing you no good. I mean, eventually, yeah, that's cool. But right now, you want to put them in place, and you want to work them with a metronome. So now we have the 1, the first note of the triplet, the and of the triplet, and the da of the triplet. Now, what he does, he breaks up the possibilities, the laws of probability. All right, now he's taking now a triplet and he's playing the first two notes and leaving the third note out. So I have 1 and the, 2 and the, 3 and the, 4 and the. Okay, so now we'll play against the jazz time. First two notes of the triplet with the snare. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang, 2. Now the next one I like. I mean, I like them all, but I get a lot of mileage out of this guy because, well, I get a lot of mileage out of all of them because I go to the stick control book and use a substitution. All right, not line 5. He gives you another permutation or another possibility. He's playing the first note of the triplet. He's resting on the second note of the triplet and playing the third note of the triplet. It's like a shuffle. He's getting 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 1. Now I'm being technically as proficient as I possibly can. I'm playing those two notes the same sound. I'm not going 1, 2, 3. I'm not giving that push. I'm going 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. Against the jazz time. Here we go. 1 and the 2 and the 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and the 4 and the 1 and. We understand it, gentlemen? It's not really comping, Franco. This is comping is totally different. You know, when they say, I don't like that term anyway, comping. What I'm doing is I'm demonstrating how Gary Chaffee approached in his book, teaching you how to play the possibilities of the triplet against the jazz time. Has nothing really to do with comping. You're going to see. Let the lesson sit a little bit, okay? But we have the 1 da of the triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now I try to be as technically proficient as possible and as musical as possible. I'm not playing a tune. I'm just doing the math of a triplet against the jazz time. I'm trying to make that right hand sound constant, my left hand sound constant, and my left foot in place. That's keeping my time. Now, we go to the 6th one. Now he eliminates the first note of the triplet, and he's playing the and da of the triplet. So now, what I have, just the triple by itself. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. Okay. How you doing, Marcio? All right, now we're going to play the and of the triplet against the jazz time. Nice and easy. All right, and then the last one, he's doing the full triplet. All right, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang. Simple. Now that was the snare drum part. And what I really like about this, first of all, I want to mention, when I was first learning how to play the jazz time and developing independence, so to speak, the only book that was really available was the Jim Chapin Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. And let me tell you, I went through the whole book, and it was torturous. But I went through it. But the only problem with that book, I mean, the graphics were beautiful, man. He showed you, this is the placement of your ride cymbal, this is the placement of your snare, and then you put your hi-hat and your bass drum. And then he opens it up. But the graphics were good. The only problem with that book it's my opinion of the book. You might love the book. I have no disrespect for Mr. Chapin. I thought he was a beautiful person, a great instructor. But the book didn't swing for me. Not until I took what I learned from the graphics to the syncopation book and to the stick control book. And we're going to do the stick control book in a second after I demonstrate the foot patterns. Now, what we did in the beginning was we took the variations of the triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if I could play quarter notes with my triplet, I most definitely can play my bass drum with quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just playing the triplet. I'm thinking eighth note triplet. 1 and 2 and 3. Mechanical. That's okay. It kind of swings a little bit better. 1. So now I go to the second note of the triplet, the and of the triplet. Well, first, before I go to that, let me incorporate one measure with the snare drum, one measure with the bass drum. 1, 2, here you go. Quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Good practice. Control. But notice that right hand is constant. That's giving me the sound that I want, without a doubt. And now I have control with that right hand. The left foot's there all the time. My right hand and left foot are saying, yeah, time, that's what's happening. And now I'm doing my left hand and I'm answering with the bass drum. Okay, let's go to the second guy, the and of the triplet. Let's do just the bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's a little stiff, but man, it's still, you're doing it. You're having control. You're experiencing that feel. The next guy is the da of the triplet. 1, bass drum only. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? So now let's do the first 3 randomly. Nice and relaxed. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Here we go. On the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. so on and so forth. Now we go to the one and. And 1, 2. I don't really want to spend a whole lot of time because what you do with your snare drum, you're going to do with your bass drum. What I want to do is take this book or these exercises and go to the stick control book and show you all the nice exercises you can possibly do. Now please, tell me you don't have the stick control book, I'd be upset. You need to have the stick control book. George Lawrence Stone's Stick Control, the Bible. Okay, let's go to line number 1. I'm going to show you a few different ways to implement what you just learned utilizing the stick control book between the bass drum and the snare drum. All right, we're on page 5, line 1. Now it says cut time, repeat each exercise 20 times, all that good stuff. That doesn't make it, man. That's not what George Lawrence Stone wanted. We're going to take this first line in 4/4, straight up and down. The straight up and down is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and no problem. First line. Now we're going to swing that. Now, if those don't know how to swing from eighth notes as written to swinging them, what happens is you get into the triplet mode. It's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. All the ands become the duh of the triplet, and the 1, 2, 3, 4 is the first note of the triplet. So now, let's swing that line. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. No problem. Now let's do a substitution. Instead of using the right hand, 1 and a 2, let's take the right hand, eliminate it from the snare, and use the bass drum. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. Believe it or not, what you're doing is you're implementing the brilliance and the genius of George Lawrence Stone in developing jazz independence. So if I'm playing the jazz time, and I do line 1 that way, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a bang, 2, 3. You get it? Understand it? I'll slow it down if I need to. No questions, no problems. Okay, let's go to line 2. Same thing, but the reverse of line 1. Line 3. Line 4. Sorry. Line 5. Come on, ride cymbal. You're sounding terrible tonight. Line 5. Now you have all kinds of possibilities. The stick control book has opened you up to all these variations. And that's just one variation of what I refer to as the Gary Chaffee triplet. He doesn't own it, but he projects it. I mean, that's good. Let's give him credit for that. So, let's take it up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm just randomly going to play. Just have a lot of fun with it. You know, you don't want to take them there yet. You want to break these down. Now, I've been working on these open-handed, left-handed cymbal pattern. I don't have my cymbals set up, and I don't want to embarrass myself because that is extremely hard. very hard. However, when you do something like that, you're gonna develop equalized coordination on the right and the left. But if you're right-handed and you're doing that, excuse me, believe it or not, it makes your right side a lot stronger. What is that? My pleasure, Franco. I try to, the best I can. These are not ideas. These are things that would happen. Oh boy, I'm getting a sore throat. When I studied with Joe Morello opened up a lot of doors for me. And one of the objects of him was for his students to be creative. And I took where he was taking me, and I went a little bit further and developed my own ideas. Now, Joe Morello, man, was a monster. I mean, you know, this man, to me, had the best chops in the whole world. I was fortunate enough to sit down. I studied with him first off, on and off, for about 30 years. And we lived in the same state, and I was about 15 miles from my home or my studio to his studio. And we became close friends, and he would come and see me gig all the time, and we'd had a good relationship. Joe Morello was ideal. He was just a mentor, a great teacher, and he was like not just with me, but with every one of his students. He had a good time, a good relationship. The man was a beautiful human being, very humble, constantly. And I'm going to give one more, and I refer to this as a formula. You could do so much with it. We're going to continue with this tomorrow night. We're going to do triplet fills, and we're going to play them on the snare, one surface, on multiple surfaces, and then between the bass drum and snare drum against the jazz time. We're going to have a good time with this. It takes time. I get overwhelmed, and I give a lot of work to my students, and I just keep them busy, man. They just practice 25 hours a day. All right. We're going to take one of the triplets from Chaffee's. We're going to take, you should have the book, number 6. Number 6 in his book, he's playing the and of the triplet. So you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and or with the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Between the bass drum and snare drum. Now let's do a formula. Every time you see a right, it's going to become 1 and Every time you see a left, it's going to be 1 and So without the right cymbal pattern or the left foot, I'm going to take that interpretation and play line 1. Now, if you count it that way, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and there's really 4 measures you're counting. Line 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, do we understand how I'm getting that? If you don't understand it, please speak up and I'll slow it down or enter it a different way. So now we're going to play with that formula, the jazz time. Line 1. We understand it. Now you have 72 lines to do. Or you can make more than 72 lines, play right across the page. It's just an unbelievable book. Dane, 2, D, 4, 1, 2, D. Let's do line 3. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Hey, Randy, you still there? Mr. Randy. Well, for the guys who have been here for the first time tonight, I'm going to give you my email. And I'm going to be streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7:30. Now, if I get enough donations, I will stream 1 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday as well. Randy, you understand everything that I've done so far? I know you probably have, but I just want to make sure. Now, for the guys that, like I said, are going to frequent this stream, please have the stick control book. Gary Chaffee's pattern series, time functions, syncopation book, and Joe Morello's Master Studies. Now I'm going to give you my email. What I need for you to do, if you'd like, is to email me. And I will put you on my mailing list, and I will give you the PDFs and the agenda for the week. Let me give you my email, gentlemen. Bear with me, this computer, I got to rearrange this whole studio. It's getting too much. You definitely, the sound is okay tonight, right, Randy? Here's my email, gentlemen. Good for you, Franco, very good. You have all the books. We're going to be doing a lot of work with it. Gary Chaffee is a marvelous player, a great instructor, and extremely knowledgeable. Extremely. Nicest guy, too. Very humble. And that's what makes somebody really, really, I like somebody who's humble because, you know, they're always wanting to learn. Now, you could have all the formulas. You could take any formula one. I gave you 2 ways to do the stick control book. I don't want to do 72 lines because I don't really have time for that on the stream. If you'd like me to, I will. I mean, it's your call. But if it's necessary that you want to, you know, I would stay with maybe 1 or 2 formulas. Stay with the Chaffee book, the stick control book. And I want to go into the syncopation book, Mr. Ted Reed. Now, I get a lot of negative feedbacks and everybody says I have a bad attitude and whatever. But actually, the syncopation book is the stick control book without the lefts. It's unbelievable. So let's take one of his pages. Let's take page 14. It's a simple pattern, a simple book. It's the 8th note triplet. And the bass drum is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, hi-hat 2 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jazz time. Now I'm going to play the line down with my left hand against the pattern. Line 2. 1. Ed. 7:30, bro. That's okay. I'm staying a little later tonight. All right. What I like to do with that particular page, and it's a good workout, I like to play 1 measure with my hand, left hand, and 1 measure with my bass drum. It's a workout with the foot. See what I did, gentlemen? Understand that? One with the one measure with the hand, one measure with the bass drum. Now, being that you're going to be using the triplet, here's an endurance exercise you might want to do. Set your metronome or your click track or whatever you want. Play eighth note triplets with the bass drum, say for 4 or 5 minutes. Now, we're not pounding it and we're not going to hurt ourselves. Anytime that you do it within 4 or 5 minutes and you feel any kind of discomfort or any kind of stiffness, stop. You don't want to hurt yourself. So I'm going to play the jazz time, and I'm not going to set a timer, but I'll do something like this. And do that for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever you want to do. You're not that you ever will play your bass drum for that long period of time, but man, it gives you that freedom of that bass drum gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, that's just doing it by itself, but if you really want to get it strong, challenge the bass drum. How do we challenge it? Okay, bass drum, we're challenging you? No, that's not how we do it. Another exercise. When I'm doing the triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to play line 1. And I'm only going to play the lefts, but I'm thinking of line 1 in the stick control book as swung. So my left hand's going to play 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da, 1. See, what I'm doing now is I'm challenging it. I want to maintain that bass drum constant, and I'm playing against it. Or I could take page 14, or Chaffee's triplets, and play the left-hand parts all the way down, the snare drum parts. That's challenging it. When you challenge that bass drum, it becomes stronger. And actually, and I'm going to maintain this throughout my teaching forever and ever, the slower you practice something, the stronger you become, the more control you obtain. Remember, speed does not exist if you have no control. You know, you get these guys like on the Facebook groups, the art of drum soloing. You know, there's 2 kinds of soloing in my opinion. There's soloing in form, and there's a free form solo. It's an open solo, meaning, you know, you could display whatever you think you want to display, how fast you can play, how, you know, maneuvering around a drum set. But to me, that's not really the art of soloing. That's the art of displaying your abilities. The art of soloing, for example, is if I took a tune and I want to do say 3 courses, 4 courses, I'm thinking melodically and I'm playing the tune mentally and using my sticks to bring it out. Do we all kind of understand what I just said? Oh, definitely next week we're going to do impressions, guys. I wonder where Paul has been and Mike and all the other guys. I guess Paul he's a school teacher and he's getting ready for school, just like my kids are now. Okay, any questions on anything we did tonight? So we played the straight ahead time. What's an open time? All right, Franco, you understand it. Email me, Franco. Big Buddha. Randy. What happened to Marcio? Marcio, you still here? Who else is not here? Seven Phase Complex. Okay. I don't know who that is. Yeah, Milestones. You got it, man. Bump, bump, bump. You know, I love that tune. It's a 32 bar tune. And I'm going to write it out, as a matter of fact. We're going to work on it. If you listen to Miles Davis' version, he adds another loop on it. He does bump, 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 bump 3 times as opposed to 2 times. And it gets really confusing. But when he's in the improv, it's 2, the bridge, and then 1 of the A, B, A. Joe, Sheila, why did you miss me? What happened? You were kidnapped by 3 blondes. I know you did. Well, it's been recorded, so I'm going to be leaving in about 5 minutes. What we did was we worked on the jazz patterns from Shafee, and I took them a little bit into the stick control book and to the syncopation book. We are going to continue on it tomorrow evening. But we're going to do the stick control book with the triplet fill-ins, and we're going to play them against the straight ahead jazz time. Are you familiar with that, Franco? Franco, where are you from? Walking the Dog, that's a tune, man. It's been about 100 years since I played it. Walking the Dog. Good for you, Joe. Franco, where are you from? I do want to do some master studies. Chile, wow. I'd say that's pretty south. I was in South America, I was in Brazil. That's the furthest south I've been. And you play jazz, Franco? Or you just play? You know, I hate labeling anybody. I'm a jazz musician. I'm a rock drummer. I'm a metal drummer. I'm a church drummer. You're a drummer. You play. Simple. My name is Matt, Frank. You can call me Matt. It's okay. Thank you for being so respectful. Anyway, if you want, the video is going to be, right now it's being recorded. As soon as I shut it off, it started being processed. Maybe in about 10, 15, 20 minutes, you can come back and watch it if you want to watch it again. But tomorrow night, we're still going to work with the straight ahead jazz pattern, and we're going to do triplet fill-ins. Now, it seems that I've been revisiting things I've already taught. I've been doing this for 3 years, 4 years now, and there are new members and there are new people that don't understand it. So the older guys, man, that have been here, no harm in revisiting. You should come to New York there, Franco. The capital of jazz. Okay. Anyway. Time for me to log off. I'm happy that the sound was okay. Hope I helped somewhat. I am going to, as soon as the video is finished processing, I'm going to put this on Facebook. I'm going to put it in the Shafee book, the Shafee room and the stick control book room and the art of drumming and the syncopation. Okay, gentlemen. Before I sign off, I'm sorry, Ed and Joe. I'm trying to make the lesson as long as possible, but it's hard. I can't cover too much. Adios, amigos. All right, Randy. Ciao. Okay. Love you guys. My pleasure, Franco. Come back and visit. I'm on here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. What time is it in Chile right now, as a matter of fact? What time is it? Okay, I have to sign off, gentlemen, but I will be back tomorrow, the same channel at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, gentlemen, for believing in me and listening to what I have to say. Randy, thank you, man. Thank you for your donation. I sincerely appreciated it. I get about 5 or 6 of them. I'll be able to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 1 p.m. That's 10:15. That's 2 hours difference. That's a.m. or p.m. in the evening. Oh, yeah, that would be. Yeah, it's the same time as here, 8:16. All right. Thank you, Ed. See you guys. Have a good night. Oh. Yeah, but it's the same time. It's 8:15 here. Have a good night, gentlemen.